Hello everyone. Today is Wednesday, September 30th, and welcome to my market recap for the day. Um, Today, again, we'll start off with the major indexes, starting off with SPY. And just like yesterday, it in the green line, which is nothing but a zero lag indicator, um, is moving upward. We had an up day today, and we see the line continuing its bullish trend in here. So it looks like it is going to continue. Maybe it's going to turn around a little bit, but it doesn't show any indication of such on my green line in here. So next up, we can move to the Qs. Qs as well, showing an upward trend on this line in here. So it definitely is bullish at this point. Even though the price actions are choppy in here, it looks like it is moving upward in here. And going back to the Russell, right, it almost close to the downward trend line, the upper trend line in there. Um, Looks like it might reverse from that point onwards. So if this is an indication of a reversal, then both SPY and QQQ might reverse as well, because the whole market is in sync right now and it is trying to do the same everywhere. So I'm short on this. I'm short on SPY as of now, but all my positions are long, right? So that's how I'm playing this one. So I'm expecting some kind of a turnaround at this point in here. And if it does not turn around, or if it turns around halfway and it tries to move up, that's a bullish shine, and then try to get on long positions on that one at that point. Quickly looking at some of my long-term holdings. Apple continued its uptrend in here. I'm going to adjust this a little bit so that it can tag the upper end in there. So at this point, if it drops, I'm expecting it drop somewhere until 111 and then move back, right? So that's how I look at these lines in here. This kind of a widening wedge kind of indicates it will maintain its trend, and I'm long on this one as of now. Next is AMD. Again, continues its uptrend. Not a very strong day, and post market seems quite a down, quite a bit down here. But again, on my charts, my green line shows an upward trend, and it might come down to 77, right? I'm expecting somewhere around 77, 78 in there and bounce back. And if it does that, then it will continue its uptrend in there. If it breaks that line and kind of reaches this support line, the red support line, then I become bearish on this one. But as of now, as long as my green line is within this range, I am bullish. And looking at Microsoft. So again, it's still holding the trend line. I'm going to have this trend line maintained in here. I'm good with its current position as long as it is within this range in here. Now this is a very narrow range, and I might give a little bit of tolerance if it drops down, as long as it doesn't hit this resistance line in here, breaks this resistance line. So if it bounces from this point, it's good for me. So I'm looking at somewhere a 208 as my best case scenario, worst case scenario as 203 or 204. If it can reverse from that point, I'll keep maintaining my long positions, otherwise I'll go short on that one. So those are some of my long-term positions in there. Looking at the three positions that we entered since we began this video log. First up, BABA. Um, it ran quite a bit today, right? So it's like a steep uphill in here. So it's went all the way up to 294. And post market also doesn't seem like it's retracting any much here. So I'm expecting this to continue in here. I'm going to keep maintain this trend line because I don't have any kind of a definitive peaks and lows in here that I can actually reposition my trend lines in here. I'm going to leave it as is. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put upper resistance support line in there. So if at all it drops back, I expect like 277 and bounce back from that point. Again, just to remind, this green line is not the actual price line. The price line is this very faint white line in here. Currently it's like 294, its position here, but my green line only shows up to 286. And the reason for that is it's zero lag. It doesn't fluctuate as much as the price would do. That helps me in actually making informed decision on whether to go long or short this one. So right now I am long on this, and because of this huge move, I will show you my adjustment in my position, which is important. I think it might be interesting for you to see how I do that. Next, taking a look at Marvel, didn't move too much today. But nonetheless, it was at the upper end, so I can see the green line moving upward, continuing to move upward. No definitive peaks or lows, so I'm going to leave the trend lines as is in there and wait for any definitive trend lines. So the one thing I can do is put this upper resistance that is so close to the top in here, and it might break. I'm okay as long as the price is in between these two red lines in here, right? So in that way I can now start putting the trend lines whenever I see some down movement, and then if it starts moving up, then I can find the lower lows, um, and I can start adjusting my trend lines. Next is the square. So as I said in my previous video, I may have entered this at the wrong time, right? So right at the peak, right at 166 was my entry. It's real bad. I should have done a good job making an entry somewhere around 156, 157, 158 range. That would have been a good entry. Nonetheless, this looks bullish for me. It's turning a little bit. I'm going to use the 13-day EMA as kind of a first line of support to see if it bounces from there. But right now it doesn't look too bad as well. It does definitely looks like it's going to turn for a few days, and then if it bounces on this line or this line, I'll still keep holding this. The reason I think that it's going to come down for a few days is because of this huge gap between the 34 EMA, which is the 21 MA, and the current position price in here. This gap needs to be kind of reduced a little bit. Usually it acts like a rubber band, so the further it moves away from this orange line, it comes back. It snaps back to hug it, and more often than not, what happens is it just goes or shoots and goes under it. So something like this, right? So if it goes too high, and it snaps down, so it has to go too down. Here it snapped back, and this is more of what we want to see in here, right? So not not a runaway price, uh, not too much further away from the average price in here, right? So I hope it slowly comes down, and then it will tag and move up, and that's my expectation. All right, so with that, let's take a look at all my positions and how I played adjusting BABA on this one. Here's my sheet in here. So I did mention in one of the previous videos that if the price runs too much higher above the weekly sales, it's going to cause problems because you may get assigned, and that is not good for your position. So here's what I did for today. Early morning, price ran up and ran up so high that this needs to be closed, and I did that. I closed it for 957, which is negative 746 on the PNL in here. That is fine because what I do is I look at this price, right? So this is 957. I'm paying 957 to close this. Now, if the if by Friday Baba's price was under 282, I would have gotten the entire $208. Now, since the price moved up, it is not possible for me to get that 208. In fact, I may have to pay a huge amount in that, and I may get assigned. So to avoid that, I paid this price, right? Paid 957, which means that I made a loss of 749 in here. Now to cover it, what I do is I sold 295 call, right? At that time it was like 291 Baba's price. I sold a 295, but I needed to sell it for anything more than what I actually purchased the previous one for, right? So I actually gave 957, so I picked 1068. Now it's 1062. Now this was available only for November 30. Now you can see in here the previous one was supposed to expire end of this week, but if I had to go and adjust my position in here for anything for this week, I would get another $2 or something like that, but that would be a huge loss for me. So instead of that, I went further out for November 30th and found this price that with this strike, right, 295. Hopeful that okay, even by end of this month it's not going to go break 295. If it does that, I'll do another adjustment accordingly, right? So that way I am pretty much maintaining the original price, right? So the $2.08 that was supposed to be received by me. Uh, so now I get to keep this amount by November 3rd, right? So this is not a huge kind of a profit. So instead of a week's time to get my 208, I would take like 4 weeks time to get to keep my $208. Now you may say that hey, it's not profitable, but these positions are not to make profits. These positions are to hedge against or to protect against any downside movement, and and if it goes up, make a little profit out of it, right? So if by 4 weeks I can make that $2 in there and still maintain the position here, you can look at what happened in this side, right? This is where I want to make the money. So I bought it. Current price is 69.48. Right now I am at 1396, 1400 positive on the PNL in here. Now at the end of November, if I can make the 208, and if this price stays at 294, right, this would be like 1200 plus 200, 1400 by end of the month. So that is the overall game plan in here, and this way I am covering for any downside and making small profit for any upside. Now, what happens if it falls tomorrow, right? So tomorrow, Baba falls, and the price comes back to 280. If it comes back to 280, this one would be around 56, 57, $58, which would be like a $200 PNL, and this one would drop, right? Would drop way below $10. It will be like $2 or $3 in there. So I'll be like 700 up. Right? Whatever I lost in here would be covered in here. But in any case, by end of November, I should be able to realize the 208 if the price remains under 295. If it moves higher, well and good, right? So the main price, the main option in here, the leap, would keep on printing money, and this one I'll keep on adjusting so that I never go in a loss at any point in there, right? All right, so that's a bit of explanation, but as you practice yourself, you'll understand why this is done, how this is done. But this is one technique that I came up kind of stumbled upon across as I did various different techniques, and this one is the best suited for my style of trading in there. All right, moving on to Marvel, and these are typical trades. This is what I'm expecting on all my positions. Slight movements upward. You may or may not see a PNL right away on this one, but over time you will see that one. But this is what I want to see. It is right now at around 39.70 or $40. It's a bit under 40.5. End of the week this becomes zero, which means that I keep the entire $46 for me, right? Now I keep that thing. As long as this doesn't drastically fall down, then I'll be in the positive side overall on these ones. So week after week, if I can make like $50 on the weeklies, that'll be great, because now this is until March, sorry, May, and that's quite a bit of a number of weeks that I can print money like this. Right. So this the third one also is a good example. Square, as seen here, it's dropped pretty much pretty hard in here. It's going down, and I'm negative 275. But overall, if you see on this one, because I sold for 283, it's way under 170 dollars the price, and because I sold this for 170 at 283, right now its value is just 73, which means that I am already in money of in positive PNL of $210. End of the week, if it stays below 170, then I get to keep the entire $283, which will kind of dampen the blow on this one, right? So let's say I go like $350 under in here, but I make $283 in here. Overall, I would have just lost $75 for the week. So which is a good thing, right? And that's the purpose of these selling in here, to kind of reduce the impact of any downside movement of my long leaps. Now over time, this might come back, right? It will start rallying. At that time, I'll start covering this money, but whatever I gained at this point is mine. So I just go doing that until a point where it goes below the price of 135, right? So right now Square is at 160 plus. So if it goes below 135, at that point I have to make a decision whether to keep running with this thing. I would have taken a loss of 20-30% on the entire thing based on how much I sell till that point. And that's not bad, because you're not going to lose the entire $4,800 on this trade. So you would have been made money all the way down while this keeps going down. So that's how I trade. So overall PNL for these three trades for this week is 411 positive, not bad at all. So as weeks goes by, you will see how this keeps trending, and what you will notice is that there will be no huge spikes of profits or huge spikes of lows in there. It will go steady and smooth, right? It's not going to be huge profits, but it will be a smooth and steady profits over time. And that's the plan, and that's the goal with my strategy in here. Thanks for watching.